welcome you to another have the community being able to create experiences for people who are going through this kind of challenges to be able to stop that from happening and eventually be able to learn so that you can go beyond it. And the topic that we're going to be talking about today, to be able to stop that, it's something that may be somewhat counterintuitive, and it's what I like to call the field of possibilities. And I'll say that again, the field of possibilities. And you may be wondering, well, what exactly is that all about? You see, one of the things that I have seen often is that we get to a point when there's challenges in the relationships. And I want to say, this aspect of the field of possibilities goes a lot more than just a relationship. It's every single domain where there is some form of health in your life that is being affected by it, whether it's your physical health, whether it's your financial health, whether it's obviously the relationship health. Is it the relationship that you have with others and the health of that is actually being affected? So every single thing that you can think of that you can put in this aspect of something that requires to be healthy for your life to be working properly falls into the domain of this field of possibilities. And you see, what happens is that when we start to run into problems, most people, they will go to their mode of fixing things, navigating things, working through things, is to be doing the same thing over and over and over again. And you probably have heard about the definition of insanity, which is to do things, over and over and over again, expecting to have a different kind of result. And this is something that when it comes to relationships, especially those relationships that are being extremely challenged, and they're in the midst of either separating or divorcing, or they're currently in a state of separation, and you're just kind of like cranking the gears to be able to completely dissolve what you've created, it is very hard to take a pause. It is very hard to think and even feel into what other things are possible here that could potentially create a different outcome. And that's where this aspect of the field of possibility comes into. You see, one of the most powerful tools that anybody can have access to, that anybody can resource themselves with, is to think of other things that, even if they seem impossible for you, that you can actually access, that you can use and leverage to be able to deal with the situation that you're having. You see? Let me see who's actually, we have Power Lucas here. Thank you for being here with us today. Thanks for joining. So when it comes to the field of possibility, is taking the aspect of your imagination, taking the leveraging that particular tool to be able to bring it into the conversation. And you may be saying, well, hold on, Mario, but how is it possible that I could potentially even have something like that work for me? And you see, this is one of the things that I talk about, and I'll show you a little sign here that I've created. There is a model that I use for all the people that are in my programs, particularly for those that are navigating through these challenges where things are just not working out and their wits' end of what is it that I can possibly do here. And that's what I call the break, heal, and ultimately strengthen model. The break, heal, strengthen model. One of the things that is incredibly powerful that I have learned about all of this for over 30 years, not just simply being in medicine and being in mind-body medicine and being a coach for men and women and creating programs and delivering and talking about this on TV, on the radio, is the following. If you don't have a common vision with the party that you're attempting to solve whatever challenge you're having, you're not going to be able to do that. And if you're thinking, yeah, that's bogus, I don't really believe in that. Okay, well, I'll give you another example that has nothing to do with relationships. That is a perfect example of how something went from nothing to being something that is among the most valuable things in the world. And that is the company Apple. If we take the example of Steve Jobs for a second, Steve Jobs had an idea, and he could have never delivered in actually getting that idea created and create, the most powerful and most financially valuable company in the world unless he had been able to enroll people, bring them into the vision that he had, right? So when he would talk about what is it that he was trying to do with Apple, he would say that he wanted to actually put a dent in the universe. Being able to convey to others, in this case, the people that he was bringing in to be part of his team to be able to build this company, was absolutely massive and essential to be able to create what he wanted to create, this incredible vision. But it all started with him and then bringing and sharing, conveying that vision of what that thing was going to be so that other people could say, I buy into that, I don't buy into that. If I'm bought in, then this is what I'm actually going to be doing to contribute to that, right? But when it comes to the relationships and when it comes to, situations where we are basically walking on separate paths, do you think people are actually thinking of taking something like that and using it and bringing it into this conversation? The answer is no. We tend to think that these things are completely different. There's the business world over here, and there's my personal relationship over here. The fact of the matter is, any relationship is a form of an organization. It's a form of a business transaction, if you will. We are trying to get our points across. I am trying to get you to do something. Perhaps you're trying to get me to do something. Maybe you're trying to convince me and inspire me to actually follow you to do something that is really important to you. There's always this negotiation, this transactional nature. But when things are not working out, very often it's associated with the fact that we have completely gone separate ways. If you're actually here in the call with us, just send us a message here. I'm seeing here Halit Yaglu. How are you? Thanks for being here. The same thing with Eric Santiago. Hi, Eric. Thank you for being here. If this is resonating with you, please just put your comments in the chat here so that I can see where you're at with this conversation and how you relate to this. So this aspect of the field of possibility, if we take that a step further, right, as let's say Steve Jobs was conveying this vision to all the people, is about, I am going to come up with different ideas of what is it that ultimately we want to see and have that be done so people can have it, use our products and so on. When it comes to the relationship, if you're actually in that divergent or separation sort of course, the question is, have you actually taken the time, given the opportunity to the relationship to experience what that common vision is? And that is super important because the stage you're in when that is happening, like I said, is you're in this phase. You're basically breaking down. Things are not working out. However, one of the things that I have seen consistently over and over and over in relationships that are not working, or if you're a business person, if you're a business entrepreneur, and you're actually in a situation where things are not working out for your company, maybe you don't have a company, you work for somebody else, and professionally you completely hit the ceiling and you're not going beyond it. That's actually a form of a break phase. What is it that is happening that you're not going beyond it? And typically the answer to that is, where is your vision? And is any action that you're doing currently serving ultimately that vision of where you want to go? And I have seen this over and over again with the people in my community and people that I have been able to take care of and have the privilege of coaching for many years to be able to actually break out of that break pattern, to be able to rebuild yourself differently and ultimately start soaring again. When it comes to the relationship, the main piece here to stop that break phase of that cycle, and this is something that I took at extensive length in what we call the 7-day Stop Fighting Challenge here in the Alive Partner community, is let's just jot down, let's sit down, and let's have an idea of what that common vision is. Where is it that we're going? What is it that matters to us? Typically, as we spend more and more time with people, we start to roam in different directions. Some people really invest a lot of energy so that the trajectory of the two people is actually parallel, and we're working with developing, ourselves independent of one another, but having a lot of contribution that goes into the space so that we can continue to move forward. This is something that I do in my relationship on a daily basis, and that looks very different for a man than it looks for a woman. But the ultimate outcome of what happens and comes out of it is really powerful. You're moving in a common direction, and it's a predetermined, a preset direction that you've actually wanted to have because you had that vision. One of the aspects of being able to use this tool and bring it into having that common vision and then exploiting the aspect of the field of possibility. In other words, giving yourself license to go beyond what you don't even believe in, right? I'm not trying to tell you, convince yourself, and this is a psychological game to get something else. No. If you can actually see it, if you can even verbalize it, even if you think I am just fantasizing right now, that creates possibility. If a possibility is created, then it becomes a matter of what can I create? What conditions do I create to be able to do that? Let's actually have another example. Let's say that you're watching this conversation here with me and you're thinking to yourself, Mario, I need to lose 20 pounds, right? And perhaps you've been doing all sorts of diets and so on, and you say to me, it's just simply not possible. I come from a family that, people are overweight, all my friends eat junk food. It's just simply not possible. Well, the first thing to do is, once again, if we apply this break, heal, strengthen model is, can I have a vision for what is it that I want to do? Not just to say I want to lose 20 pounds, right? To create all the conditions, and this is something that I walk people through in my programs. Let's just sit down, write down what is that vision. I want to have a life where I am at my ideal weight, and let's say that weight is actually 175 pounds. Let's be really granular with this and very specific and bring a lot of clarity to it. So I sit down, I write what is that weight, I start jotting down what is it that it feels like for me to wear the clothes that are important to me to wear. Maybe you've been wanting to put a suit, or maybe if you're a lady listening to this, there's a skirt that you've been wanting to wear, but you have not been able to do it, and it's embarrassing and shameful for you not to be able to do that. It's okay. We invite all of that stuff in. Let's sit down and write down, my vision is on a Saturday, 3 months from now, I am going to be wearing this particular skirt, and it's going to be a beautiful sunny day, and I'm going to feel so elated and so much freedom. It's going to feel amazing. You're writing this stuff down, even if you don't believe it, even if it's just painful to write it down. You start to connect with that particular vision that you have. After you do that, now that you've actually physicalized it, right? You not only thought it, you wrote it down. On top of that, you're connecting with what are the feelings of being able to have that moment that you have not been able to achieve, right? There's a whole lot going on that is going to be supporting you going in that direction. Now you've created this possibility in the field of possibilities. It went from being nowhere to now surrounding you. It's part of your experience of something that you can really get to do if you have an action plan for it. The second portion of this that sits next to the field of possibility, and you haven't created that, written it down, felt into what that would be like, is to actually have an action plan for it. Once again, most people, they say, I want to do this, I want to do that, it would be nice if. However, there is no physicalization of the experience that wants to be had. And then the second piece is to create a concrete plan, not just to say, I'm going to eat this many calories a day and I'm going to have 3 meals a day. No, to have something that it's another instrument that allows accountability for those things happening. Okay, so you may have next to that column of things, a little column with check boxes so that you're going against that, and you're keeping track of yourself, you're keeping yourself honest. Now you're taking what seemed impossible, you brought it into your field of possibilities. I'm going to bring this into my experience, but kindly, gently with yourself, I'm going to create the conditions to be able to have that. This very often misses the mark for most people. They just stop at, I'm just going to, it would be nice if I had this. And in fact, this is such an important conversation right now, because here we are at the end of the year, and as it turns out, many people are going to be, thinking about the New Year's resolutions and how long are the resolutions going to, last till, right? It's going to be like the first couple of weeks, or maybe, 3, 4, 5 days into the year, somebody invited you to post-holiday dinner, and suddenly they put this huge feast, in front of you, and suddenly the diet and all the plans went away because the structures had not been created to be able to put in front of you what was needed and keep you accountable for that. You see, the field of possibilities brings along with it this particular subset of actions that do get you in the direction where you want to go and do allow you to experience getting what you want and what you've been needing for the longest time in your life. So if you're somebody watching this right now and you're thinking to yourself, I am between a rock and a hard place right now. This is a super, super difficult situation for me. what am I supposed to do with this, right? What's going to give here? And the answer is there is this big field of possibility and opportunities for you because you brought into your current situation, invoking the power of this concept of the field of possibility. I hope that this has been resonating with you and let it simmer, right? I would love to get your comments to see how this is landing for you because the fact of the matter is, it is incredibly powerful and people come to my community just to do that. If you are in need of having even more support with being guided and being taken by the hand to actually be able to do something like this, you can actually see the link below here for our program, the 7-day Stop Fighting Challenge. In that day, I accompany you every single day for a total of 7 days. So you learn what are the different pieces that go into the break, heal, and strengthen model so that you can actually create these changes as early as day one. Just even going through the first day and talking about the common vision for your union, for your situation, for what is it that you want to create in your life will be incredibly powerful to set you in a different direction. So if you're serious about that, and this is something that as the year is approaching to an end, you want to create some significant changes, I'm going to invite you to click on the link below and take a look at that because it will support you greatly to do just that. I am Dr. Mario, founder of AlivePartner.com, and I want to thank you once again for being here with me. We're here every single week at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time on Wednesdays, and if you miss me on Wednesdays, then you can actually catch me on Instagram on Fridays at 1:30 p.m. as well. Sincerely wishing that this has been a game shifter for you, a mind shifter for you. And if you have any questions about this, just shoot me a little message. I read them all and get back to our people and our community members and the viewers of our program. Don't forget to share this if this has created a different kind of way of thinking for you. Subscribe to the channel so we can continue to communicate with you, and just click on that bell so that you know when we're going live so that we can have you in our community. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.